This week I'm preaching on Colossians 1 verses 15 to 23. Really looking forward to it. And I thought I'd just do a quick video of some of the study that I've done on this great passage. It's a super passage. It's all about Jesus. You can see it right as we start by just looking at the Son. For in him all things were created, invisible, whether thrones or powers or rulers or authorities, all things have been created through him and for him. He is before all things, and in him all things hold together. He is the head of the body. He is the beginning and the firstborn from among the dead, so that in everything he might have supremacy. For God was pleased to have all his fullness dwell in him, and reconcile to himself all things, whether things on earth or things in heaven, by making peace through his blood shed on the cross. Once you were alienated from God and were enemies in your own minds because of your evil behavior, but now he has reconciled you by Christ's physical body through death to present you holy in his sight, without blemish and free from accusation, if you continue in your faith, established and firm, and do not move from the hope held out in the gospel. This is the gospel that you heard, and that has been proclaimed to every creature under heaven, and of which I, Paul, have become a servant. So the first thing that you kind of notice as you look at this passage is it really is all about Jesus. Jesus is there. It's in him, through him, for him, to him. Everything is about Jesus. The other thing that I noticed right at the start is firstborn over creation, firstborn from the dead. From among the dead. Now, in biblical times, firstborn, yeah, obviously we think of firstborn as the firstborn child, and yes, that's right. But the firstborn had the full rights and privileges. They were the heir. You know, we see that today with the royal family. You know, where blessing Prince Harry's written a book called The Spare, because it's the heir and the spare. He doesn't have those firstborn rights, and so it's not that Jesus was the firstborn over creation as in terms of being born and being created, because clearly he's the one that's done the creating. All things have been created through him, so he's above creation. He's not part of creation. He has the rights and privileges over it. He's in charge of it. He's the boss of creation, and he's the firstborn from among the dead. He's not the first person to rise from the dead. In a way, Elijah and others were risen from the dead before, but he is the firstborn. He's the preeminent resurrection that lasted forever. So that's an amazing thing. And of course, in there we have this sort of sense where there's a statement made, firstborn over all creation, and then there's a list of things that prove it. You know, all things were created through him, everything on earth, visible, and heaven, thrones and powers and rules and authorities, everything. So he has got this statement of kind of ascribed honour, and then after it's the things that he did to achieve that honour. And again, with firstborn among the dead, yeah, he's over the dead. He's got this ascribed honour. He is the firstborn of among the dead, and there are things there that show that to be true. So I think that's just a wonderful first thing to notice. The other thing that's interesting to pop out is that all things, all creation. Look, there's all creation, all things were created. Where are we? All things have been created. All things hold together, that we might have the in everything, so that in everything, him bringing to himself all things, and then right at the end there's every creature, all things again, basically every creature under heaven. And so it's this sense of the first creation that happened, the creation of the heavens and the earth. Let's look at it. It's up here somewhere, created, and then created there. There's that first creation that happened, but then there's this second creation that happens, the new creation. He is the head of the body, the church. This is the new creation in Christ, where we have been put from one place where we were enemies in our minds because of our evil deeds, and now we are holy and blameless and without blemish. So it's an amazing sense that he is over all things, both the old creation and the new creation, and he's therefore totally supreme and preeminent. So up this first section here, from there to there, 13 to 18, talks about his supremacy. So Jesus is the number one. He's the supreme one, supremacy. And then the second section, from 19 down to, where are we? Just there, here, talks about Jesus' salvation, sufficiency of his salvation, that what he has done to make us saved. It's all on him. It's all about Jesus. And then this last section, if you continue in your faith, here is about kind of our response to that. So before, let's have a look. Once you were alienated from God and were enemies in your mind. So before, we were enemies in our minds because of our evil deeds. That's the before that we have. We were enemies of God. We were alienated from God, enemies and evil behavior. But now he has reconciled us through by Christ's physical body through death to present you holy. So the first thing is that we're made holy in his sight. We're without blemish and we are free from accusation. What a wonderful gospel. Through his blood shed on the cross, we who were alienated from God, we were enemies in our thinking and in our deeds, we've now been reconciled by Jesus so that we are holy, we're without blemish, and we're free from all accusation. And then there's this kind of condition here. If you continue in your faith, does that mean it's all on us? Is it us? Or is it the fact that we just continue in the fact that he is supreme, he is sufficient, he wants us to be established and firm. Other versions put it rooted and established. He wants us to be like trees with our roots deep in him and not moving from the hope held out in the gospel. Later on, we're going to see how some of the problems are, again, there's kind of people trying to get them away from just the gospel and adding other things to the gospel, like going back to the law and things like that. So this is amazing. This gospel that we proclaimed is that Jesus died on the cross, shed his blood on us, made us go from one place where we were alienated, we were enemies, and we did have evil behavior, to this place where we are now reconciled, past action. As we came to Christ, we are reconciled, and that means that we're holy, without blemish, free from accusation. Just continue in it. Don't move from the gospel. Don't move from the gospel of grace. Isn't that wonderful? So that's my study for the sermon, and you'll see on Sunday how it will come out in sermon form, how I'll preach this truth. God bless you folks. See you soon.